Hey you guys, so Pretty Tarot YouTube channel here, and today I wanted to do a video because I told you guys this channel was no longer going to be just about, tarot readings and things like that. That this channel was also going to be a channel to learn, a channel to grow, spiritually and personally. So this is what I guess I would call one of my life coaching type of videos, or just, something um, to just kind of address different things that I know that I hear from a lot of clients when I do tarot readings, and things that I do notice even when I watch other people's tarot readings in terms of seeing what people are concerned about in the audience. So I'll say this video may be very long-winded, so go to your settings, top right hand corner of the screen. It should be like three white dots or whatever. Click on that. That's the menu. Go to speed settings, and then from speed settings go to either put in 1.5x or 2x. That way you'll be able to hear everything that I'm saying, but much faster in like half the time. So if this video is 30 minutes, you'll hear it in 15 minutes. If the video is 10 minutes, you'll hear it in 5. If it's an hour, you'll hear it in 30. But I want you guys to be able to hear everything that I'm saying, and not miss anything because you feel like either you can't sit there for that long and listen, or because you don't have enough time. Um, Actually, hold on one second, you guys. Okay, so I'm back. So I feel a little naked without my bracelets. Anyway, so I want to talk about narcissists slash toxic people and toxic situations, okay? I think we have all been through those kind of situations. And for you guys who do not know, I have a background in psychology. That's what I majored in. And I've been told by a lot of people that I'm very personable, that I'm a good listener, and that I'm very helpful, and I give very helpful advice and things like that. However, keep in mind that if you are suffering any kind of real abuse, if you are having some real mental complications or disabilities or whatever, seek out a professional counselor therapist. I am not a licensed counselor therapist. I chose a different path once I finished my degree. I just like to still be insightful to people, if I can be. I've never had my advice to stray anybody off to do anything wrong, but at the same time, since we live in 2019, you're going 2020, these days people are suing people left and right for the silliest things, and that's another issue. People not want to take accountability. So that's my disclaimer. Okay, I'm still probably giving good advice, but don't make any decisions based off of any of my videos. Make decisions based off of what a professional counselor or therapist tell you if you are having some serious mental issues or emotional problems or something like that. Otherwise, just look at me as like your online friend, giving you guys not only spiritual advice when I do, the readings and all that, but just also, somebody who's here to just kind of like share with you even the things that I know I've gone through and how I've dealt with it. And I'm just kind of here to just kind of help. You know what I'm saying? So, and if there's any other tarot readers out there, psychics, whatever, I encourage you guys to do the same on your channels, because I feel like it's a part of our responsibility as light workers slash healers that we make sure that we are not just doing these readings and we're not just making money off of people who are vulnerable or needing spiritual advice or whatever, but also that we're here to kind of help and guide and help people heal the best we can. Okay, so let's go ahead and just jump in right on in. So today I was thinking about this whole thing with narcissists and narcissism, not only because today I went and got like a massage and some things like that done, because self-work is important, and self-work is not just, sitting there and working on who you are as a person. It's also pampering yourself when you know you need it, when you're stressed out. I've been very stressed out by a lot of different things. I'm a mom, I have a business, and it's all a lot. So, and I deal with a lot. I don't even want to say this. So I'm going to, because we have to be careful what we say because we can manifest things. I'm just going to say this. I have had my fair share of experiences and situations in the past with dealing with people who can be toxic, dealing with, situations that can be toxic, and yes, narcissists. But moving forward, the more I move forward, the more I press forward, the less I'm, dealing or encountering with these kind of things because I leave those people behind. And that's where I want to get at, you guys. Because I know a lot of you, some of you've been out there looking at videos about narcissists and this and that. I know those videos get a lot of views. And I'm hoping that my video will just put an end to this for you guys for good. Maybe it won't. But I'm hoping that I can give you guys something that maybe somebody else haven't. Some of you know what a narcissist is, other you don't. Okay? A narcissist is somebody who and I'm not going to give you the Merriam-Webster definition. I'm just going to tell you what I know a narcissist to be. Okay? In general, from my experience. A narcissist is somebody who literally thinks the world revolves around them. They literally think also that other people have to cater to them. And so they will expect people to give in to their demands. They will tend to be very inconsiderate. They will be insensitive to other people and what they may need. They tend to think it's all about them. And they tend to think, it's like they have an entitlement complex. They think you owe them your attention, your time. They think that they're entitled to whatever it is that you have to offer. And if you dare deny them what it is they want, or you don't give in to their demands, or you demand that, or you have the expectation that things need to be fair or balanced between you two in terms of the give and the take, that's when they turn into the toxic person. Okay, that's when you see all the ugliness come out, and suddenly you're the bad guy and they're the victim. Okay, so it's a very complicated type of individual, a narcissist. A lot of them tend to be master manipulators. Some of them are aware of what they do, while others, they may be unaware of what they're doing, and it's just ingrained into their personality, either because of the way they were raised. Some people were raised to be narcissists because maybe their parents gave them everything they wanted. Somebody gave them everything they wanted when they were growing up. So some people were groomed to be that way. We generally recognize those people as spoiled, arrogant, whatever you want to call them, that kind of thing. But jerks, whatever you want to recognize them as. But a lot of times people recognize them as people who are spoiled and entitled. But for the most part, they're narcissists. Now, the narcissist always seeks out people who are willing to give in to their demands and the things that they need from other people. So they tend to have a primary, and then they have what I call background people, who I call their supporting cast. Because remember, everything is all about them. They think the world revolves around them. The show, it's like they think it is their show, and you should be blessed to be in their presence, to make their acquaintance, to be a part of their world. Like, they really feel like you're lucky to be around them, to know them. They feel like you should be lucky if they give you any of their time, their energy, attention, or anything. But keep in mind, they feed off of your energy. They feed off the energy of others. And without it, that is their kryptonite. Okay, that is their kryptonite. So if you want to know real quick how to shut down a narcissist, go ghost on them. Just don't say nothing to them. Don't deal with them. And it's not to do so out of spite. It is to do so more so to let them know that you're just not here for their games. You're not here for the show. You're not here to cater to them, especially when they're not trying to cater to you, or they're not trying to be accommodating to you, or whatever. Now, narcissists can come in many different forms. In terms of, a narcissist could be your friend, a narcissist could be your lover or your significant other, boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, husband, fiance, like I said, a lover or whatever. They could be your best friend, or just a friend or acquaintance, period. They could be a coworker. They could be a boss. They could be a customer if you own your own business. Especially, and people, don't be mistaken. If you own a business and you have a loyal customer, but they're always demanding of you, and they're like, the customer's always right, and they're taking advantage of you, you probably doing a narcissistic customer. And I have to point that out, because everybody always assumes that everybody works for somebody else. Some people work for themselves. So like I said, it could be someone, a coworker. It could be, like I said, a business partner, a boss, an employee. It can be, like I said, a customer. It can be your neighbor. It could be, hell, it can even be your kids, teachers, and teaching assistants. It could be, in no offense to anybody who's watching this video, if you know me personally, do not think this video is about you. Don't even assume it's about you. This video is about no one in particular. This video is just about me addressing the issue and trying to help enlighten others who may or may not be familiar with what a narcissist or a toxic person is. Many of you have probably been victim. If you're watching this video, many of you have probably been victim at least once in your lifetime of a narcissistic person / toxic person. And if you hadn't, well, then you're learning right now what the signs are. So just keep that in mind. So if you're watching this video, and don't take offense to any of this, if I say it could be a blah blah blah, or this a person or that person, take no offense. Okay. So like I say, it could be a family member. Now that's, to me, got to be probably the worst of them, a family member, because what's the saying? You don't get to choose your family. Whoever your family is, your family. And family, I feel, is probably the worst of the group of narcissists that are out there in terms of who they could be to you, because you are tied to them through blood. And a lot of times people, they have the upbringing or the value system that, you're supposed to always be loyal to family. You're supposed to always stick by family through thick and thin, and hell through water, whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? And while family should have loyalty to one another, while family should be willing to put up with each other through the thick and the thin, you know what I'm saying, through the difficulties, because a family bond should be a strong one, and it should be able to survive whatever. However, there are people who, they know this, and they take advantage of it, and they will run it straight into the ground and run you straight into the ground. And it's not fair. It's not fair, and what we have to understand is, you can love your family, the people in your family, but you do not have to necessarily deal with them, or you don't have to deal with them all the time. Sometimes you could just keep them at bay, keep them at a distance until the holidays roll around, like major holidays, you know what I'm saying, like Christmas, Thanksgiving, or a birthday or something. And everybody has that one person in their family that's considered the black sheep, either because they can't stay out of trouble, and they kind of like, everybody has to help them out or whatever, or they got, or they got to avoid them because they're going to get them in trouble. Or it's that one family member that literally, they are the narcissist, and they suck everybody dry with their, with their issues, okay? With their issues. And so some of you, unfortunately, may have more than one person like that in your family, unfortunately. And, but I'll say this. Be careful, though, you guys, that you're not also the narcissist. And don't take offense to that either. I seen a situation one time, and this was on a message board. It was supposed to be like a community where you could discuss different things. It was all psychology related, blah, 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 whatever, right? Some of these things were supposed to be support groups or whatever. And this one woman, she posted that, hey, my husband's a narcissist, blah, blah, blah. He's so terrible and awful. And she gave the example of what her husband did that supposedly made him a narcissist or made him terrible and toxic. She stated that she had elevated her feet on a pillow or two right at the head of the bed next to him while he was laying there. And he didn't like it. She didn't see why it was such an issue. Well, here's the issue, dear. Here's the issue. Your husband's not a narcissist because, he was turned off by you putting your feet in his face. Your husband was just having a natural human reaction because I wouldn't put up with anybody putting their feet in my face either. Okay? She could have just propped her feet up at the end of the bed like any normal person would do. But she couldn't see the flaw in the inconsideration that she was showing towards her husband, and that she actually, it turned out, was the narcissist. And I'm just going to keep that light because there was a whole slew of other things that she said that screamed narcissist, and that her husband was actually the victim. Okay? Her husband was actually the victim. It's just she couldn't see it. She couldn't see it because in her mind, just because he is her husband, he has to put up with anything and everything from her. And he has to be okay with everything she does. And he doesn't have the right or a voice to an opinion as to how he feels. And she doesn't have to consider how he feels about something she feels she needs to do for herself. Okay. Now that's being a narcissist. Now she's not on the extreme. But it is sometimes, unfortunately, typical of a partner to be, it's not supposed to be common. But sometimes in marriages, people, they get so comfortable to where they just let it all out, and they totally forget, hey, wait a minute, let me be considerate of my spouse. Let me see if this would bother them or not. Or even if they don't do that, the moment your spouse said, hey, this bothers me, try to be considerate and meet them halfway. Find a way to, meet them halfway, or for them to meet you halfway. And when someone is not willing to do that, and they're not willing to see the other person's point of view and consider it and at least try, yeah, that gets to be a very self-centered kind of situation. Hold on here. Somebody trying to call me in the middle of a video. I'm going to have to let them know, call me back. But like I said, you guys hearing just that part of the story, she's probably just self-centered or inconsiderate. But if you can hear all the rest of the other stuff, she's a narcissist. But that was just like touching upon one of the things she was doing that kind of made her at least borderline narcissist. You got some people, they're borderline. But like I said, sometimes I feel like when people are borderline, it's because they're not aware that they are truly just being inconsiderate of everybody else. And sometimes it's because that person may be giving so much of themselves to others, and they may have been a victim themselves of someone draining them and being narcissistic to them or whatever, to the point where they decide, no, I'm going to fight back on everything, even if it doesn't make any sense. I'm going to do me, and I'm not going to have to care what anybody else thinks. And I've seen people do that, and they end up becoming the narcissist themselves because they're a victim of narcissistic abuse. That's another thing people have to be careful of. Don't allow someone who's already toxic to turn you into a toxic person, to turn your kindness and your generosity and your thoughtful spirit into one that is a self-centered spirit, or a selfish spirit, or a spirit that is lacking in kindness, caring, sensitivity, and generosity, because that can happen too. I mean, think of it. If you abuse a dog, what is that dog eventually going to do? That dog is going to become vicious. You're going to change its nature. It's no longer going to be loyal. It's no longer going to be sweet and supportive and protective. It's going to become abusive itself. So people have to be careful that when they're in abusive, toxic situations with a narcissist or someone who they're just absolutely nasty or ugly inside, and they're letting it pour outside to you all the time, that be careful that your response is not to become the exact same thing. And sometimes people can't see that they're turning into the same thing, because they'll say, well, no, I would never be so terrible and this and that other. But when you decide you've had enough, that's perfectly fine. Just make sure that you don't let someone terrible change you into someone who feels like they can't give of themselves anymore. You can still give of yourselves. You just can't give of yourself to the wrong people or indiscriminately. You have to make sure that you're giving of yourself to someone who deserves your kindness, your care, your generosity, and things like that, you know? And that means taking your time with people, okay? Don't be that person who jumps head fast into situations. Now, I want to point out some other things about recognizing a narcissist. Now, you have some narcissists, they're pretty hard to recognize, because they do come off as the nice guy, the nice gal, this really nice person who's really generous, right? You got some people, they really, man, they will come off as being so generous, right? They'll be nice, they'll treat you and this and that and other, take you out, and they may do this with everyone, you know what I'm saying? They may do this with a lot of people, and you think it's just you they may be doing this with, but they may be like this with everyone, or maybe they are just doing this with you. But one type of narcissist, like I said, can be very generous. However, and because they're quite generous and they're known to be generous, or they're known to be kind or friendly and things like that, they're used to hearing people give them so much praise or sing their praises or say, oh, they're wonderful, they're awesome, they're this and that and other. So they hear all that. And sometimes what what people don't recognize is you got people out here who give just for the praise. They live for it. They love it. But you also have people out here who are giving and they appear to be generous just to be generous. But they're actually not being generous just because they want to be generous. They're actually just sharing what they have because they want your company. They want your time. They want your attention. Now, in some respects, hey, there's nothing wrong with being in good company, right? And being generous in order to have good company. In some cases, it's nothing wrong with that, or in a lot of cases. Until you find out that person is an Indian giver. Okay, now that's where it comes in and recognizing if they're narcissists or not. That they're so generous and they're kind and thoughtful and sweet and giving to you, and then the moment you don't sing their praises, okay, and don't get this confused with somebody who's they're genuinely kind and generous and they give of themselves, and then they see someone doesn't appreciate them. A person who isn't a narcissist, when they see someone doesn't appreciate them when they give of themselves, they just generally continue to do them, but they decide to just give their generosity, time, and attention where it's appreciated. They don't go through a bunch of changes. They don't, act like you owe them the world, because that would be being an Indian giver, okay? The true narcissist who's giving because they truly are trying to buy your praise, or they truly want you to feel like you owe them something and whatnot, and they're doing it only for their company. Now, if they're doing it only for their company and not because they genuinely just want to be nice to you. The moment you try to call that narcissist up, you try to call that person up and say, hey, I want to hang out. Are you available? They're going to reject you and act like they're busy. They're going to act like you're busy. Now, this is not to say somebody does this one time that they're the narcissist. No. If every single time you try to invite them to hang out and they reject you, and they don't have a valid reason, such as they really are tied up busy at work, with work, this and that and other, and I mean genuinely giving real valid excuses, you might be dealing with a narcissist. And keep in mind, excuses aren't always going to be validated either. Someone who genuinely is, really wanting to be around you and things like that, like I said, they're going to be considerate. They're going to say, well, I am busy, but how about Saturday? How about Tuesday? How about this afternoon? Or how about tomorrow afternoon? You know what I'm saying? They will try to make up for it and say, well, maybe some other time, rain check. And they'll at least try to call you up later and figure out maybe they can hang out with you some other time. You know what I'm saying? They're not going to just flat out, a true, genuine person is not going to just flat out reject, decline. They're going to find some way to try to, and forgive me for saying reject. I was just looking for the appropriate word, and the appropriate word is decline. But, they're going to try to find some way to reach back out to you and meet you halfway in some form, okay? But a narcissist won't. A narcissist will only hang out with you on their terms when they want to hang out. And it's usually always when they want to hang out. Usually. Okay? And if you don't want to, they may get offended. And the next time, you want to hang out, they're like, no. And at that point, they're just saying no just because they just want to be spiteful. Not because they're busy. You know what I'm saying? Now, getting back into, like I said, if it's somebody who, because I don't want to get this too confused or too mixed up with the situations, because there's different situations. If it's one of those situations where someone is, where am I getting at with this? Now I'm forgetting. Because it's so many different variations with this. And I think I've dealt with every variation, and I've seen other people deal with it. If it's someone that they're generally like, the moment, like let's say somebody, let's say a guy takes you out. Okay, let's say a guy takes you out. Or a friend takes you out. Okay. And the moment they ask you for a favor, no matter what the favor is, if it's a guy, let's say it's a sexual favor, if it's, or something else, and I'm talking about if you're a girl dating or something, or if you're, even if you're a guy and your friend takes you out, you know what I'm saying, and they didn't took you to the game and all this other places and this and that and to fancy places eating this, that, other. The moment they ask you for a favor and you say no, and it could be a genuine no. It could be a genuine, decline, genuinely declining the offer or the request, right? It's how they respond is how they react. Someone who is sane, normal, and healthy emotionally and mentally is not going to get an attitude immediately and snap and say, what? What do you mean no? Oh, so that's how it is. I spent all this money on you. I take you out to hang out, and I take you to the football game or out to dinner and this and that and other and blah, blah, blah. Or I do this and I do that for you and you tell me no. You know what I'm saying? Like a sane, healthy person who genuinely was, doing something nice for you because they weren't seeking praise or because they weren't, you know what I'm saying? Or because they weren't trying to manipulate you, they're not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? A manipulative person that is borderline being a narcissist will do that. Okay, they will act like you owe them the world because they did something kind or generous for you. It doesn't matter how many kind, generous things they do for you, if they did tons of them or if they did one. The moment you decline something that either you don't feel comfortable with or something you can't do or something you're just not willing to do, like I said, if it's for a reason that makes sense, they shouldn't be snapping. Even if you decline just because you just don't want to or you're just not interested, they don't have the right to snap and go through a bunch of changes. A decent, sane person who's not a narcissist and not doing things because they want to manipulate, control, use people, or they want the praise, they're just going to say, oh, okay. All right, well, no problem then. All right. Just thought I would ask. And they'll call it a day. Okay. Now, if you're in the reverse, you're doing all the nice person. You're the nice person, do all the nice stuff for people, right? And you just figure you ask somebody, hey, can you help me move? And that person snaps and act like, it's a big deal for you to ask them to move or whatever. They might be a narcissist. You know what I'm saying? Because now I know a lot of people don't like helping people move, but they could at least try to be, say, well, let me see what I can do. You know what I'm saying? Even if they don't follow through, at least they're trying to show some consideration. You know what I'm saying? You got to pay attention to these things. Now you have, like I said, another type that they're not necessarily doing it for the praise, but they're doing it, like I said, because they, it's all about them and, the company that they want. So when you come, looking for them, they're not going to be there for you. But when they need you, they're going to call you up in a hot, quick hurry in a second. And they're going to expect you to be there. Okay? And when you're not, they're going to take it personally. They're going to take it personally. But let it be you needing them. You call them up, you need them. They're not going to be there for you. And they're not going to see anything wrong with it. No matter how many times they're not there for you. And they know it. You know what I'm saying? Now, jumping into, like I said, keep in mind, this could also be family too. This could also be family. You could have a family member that, they called the police on you and was acting real borderline, split personality, bipolar, whatever. And then turn around and expect you to do all these favors for them or to cater to them in some form. It could be a parent, it could be a sibling, it could be, a child, because I know some of you got children out there, they will give you absolute HELL, absolute hell, and then turn around and expect you to do the world for them. Give you the world. Here's another one. Now here's another one. Let's say you got let's say you're a business owner and you have an employee, who they show up late all the time, right? They show up late all the time. They got all these excuses, this and that and other. And you tell them, well, such and such, you've been late a lot. You even missed quite a few days. So I'm going to need to write you up. And this is going to be your first or second or third warning. After your third warning, we're going to have to let you go. The moment that employee starts crying foul and saying, what? I've given you all so much time and effort and da-da-da-da. And they haven't. Okay, they haven't. They probably been slacking off. They probably haven't been doing what they need to do, but they're acting like they have given you their all and they really hadn't. They've been late. They've been, calling out for reasons that don't even make sense or whatever. You got a narcissist on your hands. It just unfortunately happened to be your employee and you're the boss. Okay? Some people got a boss and they're the employee and their boss is a narcissist. Their boss will expect them to do things that don't even make sense. You could literally be the accountant, but they're expecting you to go get their coffee every morning. And the moment you speak up and say, well, hey, I actually have to do this accounting, that's actually my job and I need to get this done. And they demanded of you that they have a deadline for you to get certain things taken care of and blah, blah, but they still expect you to get their coffee. And the moment you speak up and say, well, this is going to interfere with me getting this and that assignment done, they chew you out. Literally just, hammer, just going all kinds of ham crazy on you, in whatever way they're doing so because they feel entitled and they feel like They're the boss. You have to do what they say. And if you don't, and they, in some cases, they may not do any of that. It may never come to any of that. But you got some people, they will take advantage of the fact that they know they're in a power position. You know, they know they're in a power position. So they will demand things of you that they probably even shouldn't be demanding of you, but they know you're going to feel the pressure to do it. Why? Because they're the boss and they're the superior, you're the subordinate. You know what I'm saying? And people have to be careful for that. People have to be look out for that. If you find that you are an employee and you have an abusive, narcissistic boss, okay, superior or whatever, you need to handle that situation. And the best way to handle that situation is one with logic. So, because I know some of you don't want to lose your job, but, the other thing you could do is everybody has a boss or somebody they have to answer to. Okay, so go above them. Go above them, go around them if you have to, and, quietly report them in their behavior, but make sure you have proof and that you can document it, back it up. Maybe even people who will back you up. If it turns out that, you can't go above their head because maybe they are the head honcho or whatever, then there are government agencies designed to protect employees, EEOC, Equal Opportunity Commission, or whoever, whatever it stands for what I remember. I think that's what it stands for. EEOC in a lot of cases. Okay. And then if that is that, a lot of times you go to EEOC, they will represent you legally, if that fails, get a lawyer. Okay. And in the meantime, do what you can to hang on to your job. Okay. And just seek out what legal advice you can. Don't worry about, I guess, some people are like, well, I can't afford a lawyer. Da, da, da. Find one who will work for you until they get get the settlement or the money that, they promise they can get you or whatever. Something else you can do, look for another job. Get retrained in another skill or a profession or something. Look for another job or try working for yourself or whatever. And there's lots of different kind of jobs and fields out here, you guys. So you don't always have to do the typical 9 to 5, or whatever. But whatever you do, if you got a mortgage to pay, a car note, kids to feed, do not instantly quit your job knowing that you have those responsibilities. Just try to do the best you can to ease the situation and to get help. Okay? So people have to be careful of that. People have to be careful of that. I've seen people be foolish enough to even get involved with their boss, because they thought it was going to work to their advantage, and then it turned out it didn't, jokes on them kind of thing. And, so I'll say this, don't get caught up in one of those kind of situations because that can backfire. But some of you may not be involved with that. You just got overly controlling bosses. And I think we've all seen one where they power trip and they will abuse employees because they feel like they're in a position of power. I have literally seen a manager, and I mean a head manager, yell in the face of a supervisor. Literally. And I said, what in the hell is going on? You know what I'm saying? And I said, they better not come at me like that. They better not come at me like that. And they never did. Why? Because I didn't allow it. I said, if they come at me like that, I'm going off. Because I wasn't afraid to lose my job. I was willing to quit my job or walk off my job. Now, mind you, I didn't have any kids then. I didn't have a mortgage then. I didn't have a car note then. I owned my car, I was renting an apartment or whatever, and I didn't have any kids. So I felt like, and I knew I could just rebound just like that and find another job. So for me, it was just like, I don't have to put up with this. So whenever I felt the need to speak up for myself, I did. And I was, that same manager respected me for that. They never came at me crazy because they knew I wasn't there for it, and they knew I wasn't afraid to quit that job or leave that job. You hear what I'm saying? They also knew I wasn't afraid to go get some legal help if I needed to. So that's something else to keep in mind. When encountering narcissists, or you may not be aware you're encountering narcissists or that they're encountering you. A lot of times they seek out people, and who they're seeking out are people who are so kind, so nice, so sweet, so generous, so giving all the time. There's nothing wrong with being that kind of person, but you have to make sure you can trust the person first before you give too much. You also have to make sure you can trust the person before you're too nice, or before you allow yourself to even become vulnerable to them. Okay, there's nothing wrong with being vulnerable if it means being open and honest with other people, but don't be so vulnerable to the point where, because some it's a situation where you think you didn't fell in love with somebody, and for those of you who maybe you were dealing with a boyfriend, girlfriend, fiance, whatever, be careful that, and y'all not gonna want to hear this. This is another reason why it's not good to be out there, having sex with people you're not married to, or having sex with people casually or whatever, especially if you're not actually in an actual relationship with someone. Okay, if you're just casually dating someone or friends with benefits, please don't do it, because a lot of times people encounter narcissists in those kind of situations where it's a casual situation. You met somebody, you think they cute, cool, whatever, you hook up with them, and you having casual relations with them, or you just dating them or whatever, and like I said, you giving it up. They will take advantage of that. They will take advantage. A narcissist will see this all day and night and take advantage of it. Okay, and keep in mind that a narcissist has an entourage, people all around them who support them. They keep themselves surrounded, you guys, with people who support them. Okay, and the reason why is because that helps them to reinforce the fact that they always feel right. And the reason why is because they'll say, oh, you have a problem with them, but they'll say, well, all these other people around me ain't got no problem with me, so it must be you. Watch out for that. Know that a narcissist always got a bunch of people around them. Sometimes, a lot of times, those people are replacements to you. You know what I'm saying? People they can call up. So that's why I say don't be out here casually like that, just casually dealing with people, because especially for you ladies and fellas, this can happen to you too. Women can do this too and be narcissists and things like that. But ladies, these players, aka narcissists or whatever, they got a whole bunch of replacements for you. They keep them around. And I'm going to tell you something. There's lots of people out here who are foolish enough to be that person in the waiting wings. And this is another reason why you don't want to be casual with somebody. Because you are easily supporting someone's lifestyle where they're out here jumping from person to person. They don't care who they're hurting. And they don't care because you're one of the people they're using as a replacement. Trust me. So you may be like, oh, you're in a third party situation, or this person got other people they trying to talk to. At one point in time, you were one of those people and they replaced you with somebody else they already got. And they probably did this to somebody else while they were talking to you, or fooling with you, or sleeping with you, sexing you, whatever. You see what I'm saying? Like, you guys have to be careful that you're not a part of that you're not a pawn in a Ponzi scheme. You know what I'm saying? That you're not a chess piece that somebody's using to play the game against other people. That's the reason why you don't want to be out there just casual like that. Just out here having flings, friends with benefits. Just, talking about, oh, I'm so busy with my career, I ain't got time for it. But you still out here sleeping with people. This is not a judgment call. This is just literally me saying, this is what you're a party to, when a lot of times you guys don't even know you're a party to this. You know what I'm saying? You saying, I don't have no expectations. Well, not having no expectations allows you to be a part of a player or a narcissist game, because they'll say that they know they got people who they don't care, people who they okay with just getting the sex or whatever, and that's it, or enjoying them hanging out with them, and that's it, and they don't have no expectations. And so that person continues to play on that, and they'll say, well, ain't nobody else got these expectations of me to be loyal, or to be committed, or to be just with them, and this and that other. And they will use that as an excuse. All these other people are cool with it, so why aren't you? You're the problem, not me. When they're probably actually the problem. Because if that's what they want, then that's what they should go get. But a lot of time a narcissist feels entitled to deal with whoever they want to deal with. They could clearly know that you're the committed type. They could clearly know that you're the marrying type. They could clearly know that you're not for the games. You're not interested in flings, casual affairs. You're not interested in friends with benefits. You're not interested in fling. You know what I'm saying? They could clearly know this about you because you stated it, or they just know this about you. Because people can tell. They can tell just by behavior or by what somebody, how they carry themselves, how they are, and what they state they're looking for. Okay? But a narcissist doesn't give a dang. They don't. A normal, healthy, intelligent, responsible, mature, respectful person will see that someone is not necessarily their type. Meaning, if they know they're not into commitment, they know they don't want to get married, they know they don't want to settle down, they know they don't want to deal with just one person, they won't mess with you. They'll say, you're not in my lane. We're in two totally different lanes. I'm in the player. I'm in the, not the player lane. I'm in the bachelor or bachelor slash bachelorette lane, and you're in the marrying type lane, or the committed type lane, or the relationship type lane. You know what I'm saying? They will clearly see that difference and respect it if they are normal, healthy, responsible, mature adults. Okay? However, a narcissist doesn't give a dang. They don't give a darn. They don't care. They feel entitled to whoever they want to deal with, and they will go after you knowing that they cannot give you what you want, and that they're not willing to. They just want to enjoy you and all that you have to offer. And when it comes time, they tired of you, or you fall for them or whatever, they waiting to replace you in 2.5 seconds and not care. They won't have time to care. They're too busy hanging out with all the rest of their, their groupies, or whatever you want to call it. Their supporting characters around them. Their other. It's like they love playing a manipulation game. They're very good at manipulation. They like to be puppet masters. Okay, they love it. They take pride in being puppet masters, and they know they are, because they like playing with people. They like putting people up on shelves and then taking them back down when they want to play with them, like their toys or dolls and things. And this could be a man or a woman doing this. Okay, so you guys, this is the reason why, like I said, you want to be careful. Make sure you earn someone's trust. You can tell after a while. As my mother used to tell me, her mother told her this, and then her mother told her that. The same thing. This goes back generations. You can know clearly where someone's coming from and what they're hiding in their closet, what secrets they have, what kind of lifestyle they're living, who they really are, if you take your time with them. 6 months to a year, you gonna know. If you can't wait 6 months to a year, then you're not looking for marriage. You ain't looking for commitment. You ain't looking for a real relationship that is solid and gonna be good. Because if you're ready to dive head first in that fast, sleeping with somebody, getting too heavily involved in, allowing yourself to fall in love with them, then you asking for it. Like, you guys have got to learn to protect yourself, guard your heart, and that means taking your time, filling out the person, filling out the situation, because a person can't hide their true character for too long. They may be able to put up the good person face for like a while, for a minute, but they're not going to be able to do it for long, especially when situations start coming up. Eventually, they're going to show their true characters. And when you see the red flags, take them. Take them. Take it seriously. Respect yourself enough to say, you know what? I actually deserve better than this. I can do better than this. And you know what? Even though I want, I really like this person. I want, I like their attention, or I want their attention, or I want to be with them. I care about me more than I care about something superficial that I want. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you got to recognize when your desires are superficial. Your desire is superficial if you clearly can see this person is not the right person for you, or they're showing red flags, yellow flags, whatever kind of flags, and you're wanting to ignore those flags, or wanting to give them excuses, or wanting to give them a chance to prove who they are. No, they're already showing you who they are. They don't need to prove anything, and you don't need to get involved with them, sleeping with them, too heavy in even in a relationship, and then later on you get your heart broken, stumped on, you get used, abused, because then you can't cry foul. You can't say, oh, they're a narcissist. I hear this so much from so many people. They are quick to call someone a narcissist, but they're not quick enough to say, hey, let me take some accountability here. A narcissist gets their power from you, and they can't even get involved with you if you don't allow them to. They just can't. Um, like I said, people can't hide their true character 6 months to a year. They just can't. It's going to show. If they can, then that goes beyond a narcissist. That's a psychopath. Anybody who can hide such a dark character for so long and then unleash it on you later when you completely are baffled and completely didn't expect it or see it coming. So that's one more reason I want to just say you guys got to learn to take accountability and look out for yourselves. Love yourself enough to say, I deserve better than to put up with these kind of behaviors, these kind of things. So moving forward, okay, you realize you're in a situation with a narcissist, no matter who it is. If it's a family member, you're going to have to give them space or just cut them off. My favorite thing to do with a family member is to just give them space, even if it means not talking to them for a year, 2 years, 3 years, or just not talking to them for weeks or months. And with a family member, what I will do is, when I see that they're showing the tendencies, I just back away and I give them space. I don't even give them the opportunity to even just go and act a fool. However, if I get sucked back in and they're acting a fool, I just walk away for however long it takes to get my peace of mind back, to recharge my battery, to get my positive energy back up. And like I said, depending on what the situation is, I will only deal with them if I have to. A funeral, like I said, it's a major event, going on in the family reunion, I don't know, whatever. But if I see them, hi, hug, see you later, and go move on, talk to everybody else or whatever. You don't have to sit there and fully entertain anybody. If it's a parent that needs your help, help them and then keep it chugging along. Help them and then keep it chugging along. That's just what it is. And you don't not help a family member if they really do need you. Like if it's a parent with disabilities and they're dependent on your assistance or whatever, because God is watching you. And if you don't believe in God, then you better believe in karma, because just because someone else is unappreciative, or they like to take advantage, or they can be a douche, doesn't mean that you completely fail to do what you're supposed to do as a good person, because God is watching. And you don't want to get to the afterlife one day, judgment day, and God is saying, well, I know your parent was a pain behind, I know your child was a pain behind, but I still expected you to do what you were supposed to do for them, and then take space or whatever. You know what I'm saying? I'm not God, but God does expect us to do the right thing. Okay, so if you got an elderly or disabled, senior parent or just whatever in that regard, and they're depending on you, help them and then take your space. That way you're still doing your part, but you're not allowing them to abuse you. Okay. Even if they're there yelling at you while you helping them, just ignore them and know that mentally they're sick. So maybe they can't help it. And I'll be honest with you, some of them can't. Some of them can't help it because mentally they are sick. It's a mental illness to be a narcissist. It is also a terrible shame, because some narcissists can change, but a lot of them don't, because it truly is a mental disorder. It's like a pathology in some forms. For those who are groomed to be a narcissist, such as, like I said, somebody who grew up, their family treating them like they're a messiah, like they know they gonna be this and that when they grow up, and they gonna be the savior of the family, and when they do finally get there, everybody, they helping everybody else in the family, so the family put them up on this pedestal, like, oh, this is Jimmy is doing so well and doing so much for us in the family, Jimmy is so wonderful. You got people, they they turn into narcissists from that. Now, not everybody turns into a narcissist from that, but some people do. And you got some of those people, they let their head be blown up. I got a friend, she grew up with a childhood friend, and they didn't come from a well-to-do family, things like that, so their family was always helping theirs, and they made it to college. They got on playing football, and they got picked up out of college before they could finish and end up in a pro leagues. This is a real true life story, okay, of one of my friends. And that person went from being kind, sweet, down to earth, and being a person that's all into God, to being someone who let their opportunities, they let their opportunity to get out of the hood, to get into a better place in life. They let their career, the money they started making, the contract, the females that are around them, they let it go to their head. And they forgot where they came from, and they forgot who was there before they got there. They forgot who was kind and supportive to them. And, to this day, that person still struggles with that. And this same person will still call my friend, feeling like my friend let them down, but it's actually the other way around. They let my friend down because my friend truly cared about them. And they actually, and who knows what may happen, but they wanted to be with them and everything. However, that person let their success go to their head, and they lost out because they regret that they didn't end up with my friend. My friend went off, she married somebody else, had kids with them and everything. And it's sad because my friend, she still loves them and everything, but at the end of the day, that person, even though they keep coming back up and from time to time talking to them, they won't admit that they dropped the ball because they got arrogant. Because the reason why? Because they're still arrogant. You know what I'm saying? They became a narcissist, and it's a result of their upbringing. They weren't always that way. So you guys have to understand a person's background and their story sometimes to understand, why are they a narcissist? Is this something they were groomed into? Did they let their ego get to them? Did they let their success get to their head? Or were they always this way? You know what I'm saying? Were they always this way? Sometimes, you meet somebody's family, you get to know if they were always that way or if they were groomed that way or whatever, okay? But it's not your job to figure out if they were groomed that way or if they were always that way. It's your job to make sure you watch out for the signs of a narcissist and protect yourself by just taking your time when you get to know people, when it comes to friends, dates, whoever, significant others. Don't jump in so head fast. Don't trust people so easy. Make people prove who they are. Make people prove that they have earned your kindness and your generosity. Don't just give it away, just because you feel like, that's who you are. Because that would make you a fool. And then you have to take accountability and have no one to blame. So some of you are out there running around talking about, yes, they were a narcissist. That doesn't make you look good sometimes, you guys. Because you have to look and say, well, what did I do to allow this narcissist into my life? Because they can't walk into your life on their own by themselves. No, they can approach you, but it's up to you to be the gatekeeper of your energies. It's up to you to be the gatekeeper of your life. It's up to you to be a gatekeeper, period. And decide, are they allowed into your world, into your life? Are they allowed access to your kindness and your generosity or not? And if you let them in without making them prove themselves, without taking the time to watch and observe who they are and their behavior, then like I said, you don't have anybody to blame but yourself. So you have to take accountability. And when you find yourself in the presence of a narcissist, let them go. Leave them alone. If it's a child, and they could be an adult child, do what you can for them in terms of if you owe them, in terms of, like I said, if you know they're dependent on you, you got grandkids or something, they need help. Help them the best you can, and then take your space and say, I'm not going to put up with this. However, if they grown and they're capable of taking care of themselves, they don't have no disabilities, then let them do that. Pray for them. Okay, pray for them. But if this is not about a family member, it's a significant other, someone you're into, someone you're dating, someone you're with, someone you like, let them go. Let them go. If they keep coming back when you do let them go, make them prove themselves. The only way they can prove themselves is over a period of time and through their actions. Words don't mean a doggone thing from a narcissist because they are the master manipulator of charm and using words. They will tell you everything you want to hear to get back in your good graces, and once they see you have let your guard down, oh, they will take advantage outright. Okay? Is what they do. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and end this right here. But I think I said everything in general that I really need to say. But if you really want a reminder, if you really want a reminder of a true narcissist, or like I said, you still need a good idea of what a narcissist is. Look up here on YouTube. Look up Megan and Andre. Look up Megan and Andre. Type it in, Megan and Andre. What you will see is some videos come up from either, probably from both Comedy Central and from Key and Peele channels, okay? Key and Peele and Comedy Central. Key and Peele was a comedy duo that used to have a show on Comedy Central, and they still show, like, the show is still syndicated on Comedy Central. They to this day they post a lot of the clips on YouTube. That's another reason why I decided to go ahead and do this video, because not only was I thinking about all of this today and the day before, but I also, this video happened to pop up. It's like a compilation or compilation or whatever you want to call it. It's a grouped up video of all of the Megan and Andre videos, and clearly you get to see what a toxic situation looks like with a narcissist. Okay, you get to see what it looks like, and you get to see that one person is the more empathetic or empathic person, who is considerate and thoughtful and the giving one. And the other one is the one who is always taking advantage, and everything is cool until, as long as they get their way, everything is cool until they don't get their way. And it doesn't take much for them to not get their way, because according to them, they're always right and everybody else is wrong. And they're so inconsiderate. Like, these characters are so on the extreme. They're so inconsiderate, the one character that's considered the narcissist, to the point where they do some of the most ridiculous stuff, but it's what makes the comedy sketch hilarious. Okay? And that's classically what you will find in a situation with a narcissist. You will find the other person is the very giving, empathic, or empathetic person who has a lot of empathy and a lot of care and concern for another person's feelings and emotions, or for other people's feelings and emotions. Okay, so if you're a very empathetic person, things like that, be careful. I don't know why it's still saying low battery when I know it's plugged in. That don't make sense. Anyway, be careful, like I said, and protect your energy. Just don't give your energy to anybody and to everybody, okay? But I'm going to post the link to that video down below in the description box, and I'm going to post it in the comments section. Watch it. Not only will you get a good laugh, but you're going to learn a whole lot, and you're going to see what that situation looked like. The cool thing about this video is we're used to hearing and seeing the situation be between where it's the guy who's the narcissist and the female is the person who is the empath, or the person who's empathetic, caring, and nurturing, all that. This is the other way around, because it can happen the other way around, and it happens all the time, where it's the female that is the narcissist and the male is the empath or the empathetic one. So you guys would get a good laugh out of it. I did, but it was, you know, it just came up, and I was like, I take all these signs, and I said, let me talk about this. I feel like somebody needs this video. Many people probably do. Hopefully it wasn't too long for you. Hopefully you learned something from it, but I'm going to be doing more videos like these. I call them life coachings or whatever. And I'm going to do some more tarot readings on my channel as well. So, peace. You know, one of my nails broke. Let me, you know, comment in the comment section. I'm always going to reply or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So, comment, share your stories. You know, let it be a support group or something for you guys. You know what I'm saying? I will be there to comment as well and, you know, show support. So, peace and look out for yourselves, okay? I don't like that. Okay,